Yes, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to another live stream. And welcome to a hangover review of Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0. 2 games in, 0 goals between both sides. I, for one, thank God that I don't have to deal with Ollie ball for another season. Hopefully, this is the last season we have to deal with it. Hopefully not. I say that, but I don't want to talk too much shit because we still haven't beaten Ollie in the Premier League yet, which is fucking jarring. But we're here to break down the Chelsea-Manchester United game, all the other controversial topics surrounding it, because there is plenty of controversy surrounding it, as is typical of a Chelsea-Manchester United game. But before we start, as per usual, if you guys haven't done so already, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, check out Sarcasm City TV, check out Mr. Aaron United, check out Lawrence's channel as well. He's going to be here with us in about 10-15 minutes as well. But yeah, first off, before we break down to the game, Aaron, how's your weekend been actually? Because we haven't even spoken before the game as well.
It's been all right, man. It's been all right. 1 second. I don't know why this keeps... Anyway, yeah. It's been all right, man. Good weekend. Outside of football, not so much when it comes to the actual football. It's been a good weekend. Yeah, but again, another game where we don't take any risks. We choose to play it safe. But yeah, man. Overall, the weekend's been all right. Do you know what I mean? It's been all right. Nothing to complain about.
Yeah, it's just
Sorry,
felt
guys,
like another one. Yeah, go on. Yeah, it just feels like another one of them ones where the weekends just come and gone. You've wanted the football to try and give you some sort of relief out of it, and it hasn't even added anything to it. I don't feel depressed based off the football. I don't feel gas. It's just, yeah, we just come and gone, really. What's your thoughts?
Man. It's not, like you said, it's not being happy, it's not being gassed, but it's not disappointing. It's just more relief. That's what it's like as a Manchester United fan right now. Like when games come up, yes, I'm happy when Manchester United win, but more than happiness is more relief. You know what I'm saying? Like yesterday, it's more relief we didn't get beat. Relief that we're a point clear in second. That's what it's come to, because I have no belief in this manager whatsoever. And in games like that are always an eye-opener. So like even you and Wayne and other Chelsea fans, when you see me being so critical of Manchester United and then you play against us, you see why. Because that's not a one-off. That's how we play. That's not like it's a surprise. It came to that game and we were just woeful that day and it was an off day and then we go again. No, that's how we play all the time. There is no difference between that game and the one at Old Trafford earlier on in the season. No intent to win football matches. Yeah, not playing aggressive. We didn't really lay a glove on you. We didn't create one clear-cut chance.
Yeah, I can't remember us doing that.
We didn't in an hour and a half of football, and that was the same against West Brom. We didn't create one clear-cut chance. So that's 3 hours of football, and my memory is terrible where I can remember we've played and not created a clear-cut chance. So
yeah, I remember I was kind of expecting it, like only kind of, because we've done watch-alongs on your channel plenty of times, and I can already tell half the time we're there, we ain't talking about the football. We're talking about what fucking life, everything outside of what's happening on the pitch, because there's next to nothing really happening on the pitch. And I expected this, especially with the top 6 record. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, is it 1 goal against the top 6 this entire season?
Yeah, 1 goal.
If I'm not wrong, that goal was a penalty.
Yeah, Bruno the 6-1, I think.
Yeah, against Spurs.
Start the season.
Yep.
So with you guys, I already expected you guys to come in and be defensive minded first, but same way, it's just like going forward, there isn't really a lot of options for you. Like we say, your individual brilliance, FC, but it's just you don't have enough players, I think, that can cause those moments of individual brilliance. Like, we were going to talk about Bruno Fernandes. I feel like it's a good chance to speak about him in this game as well, because it's another one of those big games where, yes, we didn't see him. Yes, the guy was locked up. But also,
this guy is a prick.
Yeah, you know I had to come with some of the media already prepared for you guys. But with Bruno Fernandes, what is the situation with him? Because I know Manchester United will be quick to defend him against top 6 sides. And his record speaks for himself. But he's literally the only one that has a goal or an assist set up against the top 6 side this season either. So is it a case that he's not turning up against the top 6, or is it a case that the team isn't turning up?
I'll let you go first, Darren. You can answer it. Because I got a lot to say on it. Well, go on. I'll let you go.
Yeah, so you're talking about Bruno Fernandes, right?
Mm.
So Bruno Fernandes against the top six, it's very easy to mark him out of the game. I think that's it. I think the fact that he's got that much freedom is actually to his detriment against the bigger teams, because against the smaller teams, it's very easy to be everywhere around the pitch and to be busy and to pop up here and there. And do you know what I mean? And big up to Jan City. And it's very hard for certain players from the lower place teams in the table to kind of single out Bruno Fernandes and man mark him, because if they man mark him, that means you take one threat out, but then you've got other threats around the pitch. You've got Rashford, Martial, Greenwood that can potentially score goals as well. Whereas against the bigger teams, defensively, usually the bigger teams defensively have every individual that is defensive minded is as good as each other as someone else. Do you see what I mean? Against the Chelsea, for example, if Kante doesn't mark Bruno Fernandes, then you probably got Kovacic, and then if Kovacic doesn't do it, you probably got who played it, Christensen, and if Christensen doesn't do it, you got someone else doing it. Like, everyone is ready to defend Bruno Fernandes or to mark him. And yesterday, you just made sure he didn't get on the ball. It was very easy, and it's very easy to frustrate him as well. And that's one thing we saw yesterday. I've never seen Bruno so frustrated with himself, with the manager, with his teammates, the referee. Like, he was just all over the place. And I think ultimately those emotions got to his head, and they got they took over, and he kind of lost his way into the game, if you get what I mean, because he was in it for a bit, but then he misplaced the pass, and then he got angry at Rashford or someone else. I don't know who he was talking to.
I can't lie,
and started screaming.
It seems very easy to get into his head. That's one thing I noticed from the Chelsea game as well. Like, most of the second half, the guy was on the ref's case the entire time.
Yeah.
And I don't blame you as well with all decisions happening in the first half, and we are going to go into it, but continue on Bruno anyway.
Yeah, so I think it's very easy to mark him and just take him out of his game by just rattling him a little bit. You foul him a bit here and there, and he gets aggravated, he gets angry, and then that's pretty much him out of the game. So it was a bit. I'm not going to say it's a disappointment, because he's not been performing against the big six teams in recent times since he came here. And yeah, man, like I said, his freedom on the pitch can sometimes be a negative point against the bigger teams, because he's got too much freedom and then he tries to do too much. Like I've said it, I did a show earlier with Aiden and Manny, shout out to both of them, and we reviewed the game as well. And I said, sometimes, when we play against teams, Bruno is so high up the pitch. Sometimes he's even higher than our striker. So you're so high up the pitch. The
majority, sorry to cut you off, Aaron, often he's above our number 9. And yesterday, him and Rashford were both ahead of Greenwood. You know what I'm saying? But
and that's not normal.
Everybody will tell you.
Greenwood was like your playmaker at the free.
Hey, there we go. Hey. But if that's Martial, we're having a different conversation in it. But go on, carry on in it.
Absolutely, Brunos. You're right about this. Absolutely spot on. But because Bruno is so high up the pitch here, sometimes it leaves such a big hole in our midfield that Fred and McTominay are left to deal with it by themselves, and then someone has to usually drop in from the wings to come and help out. But then that leaves a gap on our wings, whoever it is, whether it's Rashford or James yesterday. And it's just like I said, his freedom can be to the detriment of the team sometimes. Do you see what I mean? Whereas with Portugal, he's got a set role that he has to play. He's very, very disciplined when he plays for Portugal, because that's in that system. I think he plays as a number 8, but like on the right-hand side, so he can cross the ball in perfectly. He's good at that. And he's feeding whoever's playing up front, Joao Felix, Ronaldo, whoever it is. So he's way more disciplined when he plays for Portugal. So that again tells me that the manager is giving him all the necessary freedom, but it's not telling him to do other things. He's literally just telling him, go out there and do what you want. And that's what he's doing. And it's like that with other players. But since you asked me about Bruno, I think his freedom can be to the detriment of the team sometimes, and it leaves. I think there was a few times where man just ran through our midfield. I feel like there was a point where Rudiger, bro, he just dribbled through like 2-3 men and ended up being in our own half. And then in the second half, Mason Mount just went through that crazy run again, because Bruno's pushing up so high up the pitch. He leaves a gap in midfield, and then Fred and McTominay are being left by themselves to deal with it. And we already know that both of them are not the best on the ball. And when it comes to defending, they're all right. And I'd arguably say that Fred is better at winning the ball back. But yeah, I would just say when it comes to Bruno, it's probably his freedom that can be good sometimes, but it can be to the detriment of the team. And shout out to Lawrence as well.
Come on.
Do you think it's more tactical as well then? So it's the issue that Ollie isn't giving him enough instructions or enough roles so he has a specific understanding of what to do on the pitch. Also, big up, Loz. Thanks for joining as well.
Yeah, big up.
No worries at all.
I don't think he's given anyone any instructions, to be honest. I don't think he's given any of the players instructions, because I think Ollie knows that he's got good players in his squad, and he very much relies on them to just pull it out of the bag and just do it whenever they can, because he knows he's got good players. He's not dumb. He knows it. He knows it. Sorry, he knows that. It's almost like he could feel like those moments are about to come. Fulham, we play a very, very bad game, and then Pogba just kills the ball, touch, goes through 2-3 guys, and then boom, left foot, side netting, goal. It's like he knows, like at some point the players are just going to bail him out. If it's not that, then it's a Bruno Fernandes penalty, and then like me and Flawless keep saying, and we sound like a broken record, but we keep making the same mistakes every single game, and it just feels like the players and the coaching staff are not learning from it. It's like they make the mistakes, but then because you won, it's like, all right, cool, let's just forget about it. Whoa, we go again, and then we make the same mistakes again, but then we win again. So it's the same cycle over and over again until we come up against like a Leipzig who absolutely embarrassed us within 15 minutes in the first half, and it wasn't even a striker that caused us problems. It was a left wing back who's unknown for Man City. So yeah, man, it's a vicious cycle, man. We just can't seem to get out of. And yeah, man, you're not gonna go far just going into games and try to play it safe and just going for 0-0 draws. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the thing I got from Manchester United's approach to the game, but I also understood it. Like, you guys are 6 points ahead of us going into the game. You didn't really need the win as much as we did. We were the ones that had to go out there and play on the front foot. We were the ones that had to go and cause a reaction out of you guys. And from our point of view, like, we just weren't clinical, and that's just typical Chelsea. Like, I say that basically every single week. I'm not even angry about it anymore. It's just I come into these games, I know we're going to miss a few big chances. It's just, are we going to create enough that maybe one or two go into the back of the net? But you lot can be solid defensively when you think defensive-minded first, and that's the way you guys always go into these top 6 games, which is why we'll look at it. It's funny seeing that, you've only scored 1 goal against the top 6, but same way, you look at it from games perspective, like you're second place right now. You're in a very favourable position. You don't necessarily need to go into these top 6 games and go and get wins. So
I'll tell you what about the whole situation about being second. It's good. I'm not debating this. It's very good that we're second, but we've got to remember, obviously Leicester lost yesterday to Arsenal. But if they win their next game and we draw or lose against Palace on Wednesday, they go above us. So that proves to me that you can play it safe all you want against the bigger teams, but it's not a good tactic if you want to be up there in the top 4. Eventually, you're going to have to go out there and actually play on the front foot against the bigger teams. It's not enough to just score goals against all the other teams. When it comes to the bigger teams, you want to play it safe and all of a sudden just shut up shop. You can't do that because it's not sustainable and it's not going to work. And this is the exact same situation.
It's enough for the board, because that's the way I always look at it, because they're the ones that enable it.
Exactly. And this is why the whole mentality of the whole club must change. And I don't always agree with what pundits say on TV, but Roy Keane said it yesterday. I think there's an obsession nowadays with teams getting clean sheets. Back in the day, okay, you're going to concede 1 or 2 goals, but you're going to do the most, or you're going to try your best to score goals as well. Okay, fine. We won 4-2. We conceded 2, but we scored 4. Do you see what I mean? And I think there's this crazy obsession with clean sheets nowadays where you're so much focused on not conceding that you almost forget to score as well. And I think that's a bit of a problem to me.
All right, well, Flawless, go on, Loz.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys already spoke about it before I hopped on, but I think, wouldn't you say, at least in the first half, I thought Manchester United weren't just safe, because I was very surprised that you started to press us. And I thought even Solskjaer didn't do that badly yesterday, because I think your plan was to sit, but then you saw our lineup and we were like, all right, we don't need to sit. That's why we're going to press. And as soon as we were Pulisic on for Giroud in the second half, you dropped by like 15, 20 yards because you knew now they have pace. Now we can't play so high because they will ruin us that way. So I think tactically, Solskjaer was actually very good yesterday in that sense. We should have found ways around it regardless, but I think you weren't necessarily like scared or not going for it. Late in the second half, yeah, sure, we were going for it more than you were. But like Lewis said, you know, we needed the win more than you did. So I think that's somewhat fair. But I think from the get-go, I don't think you were particularly safe. Yeah, you didn't create really anything other than the free kick and obviously the whole handball thing in the first half. But, and you know, that free kick can at least be debated. I think it's fair enough to be given a foul, but it can be debated that it's a foul either way. So don't give a free kick to anybody. But I don't think you were safe as such. Like, you pressed us quite high. You pushed your centre-backs quite high up the pitch. And especially with the back four, that's, if anything, a risky tactic to take. Okay, because we had Giroud and Ziyech, we didn't really have the pace up front to properly exploit it. But at the end of the day, still to play high up the pitch, going away to Stamford Bridge is not what I would say, like, the safe option.
I hear that, yeah. Go on, Flores.
What was the question? In regards to what Loz was just there in terms of it being safe, that means we didn't take any because we didn't create anything. So clearly something's gone wrong in it. You know what I'm saying? And that whether the plan was good or not, the execution of it wasn't good enough. Either the plan wasn't good enough or the execution of it wasn't good enough. We played for an hour and a half and didn't create one chance. Something's not up. Something's up. We're talking about pressing and not playing it. We never went for it in the half. There was never no intent. You know what I mean? When you making like for like changes, if he had tried to keep it tight for 70 minutes, because defensively we were solid. You know what I'm saying? And I'm always worried when Maguire and Lindelof are playing together. So defensively we were fine. But if you get to the 70-minute mark, go for it. You know what I'm saying? But when you're making like for like changes and still have two holding midfielders on the pitch, that tells you all you need to know. And that's where my issue lies, because we never even tried to break down Chelsea. Dude, I keep saying the same word over and over. There was no intent to go and win the game. You know what I mean? There's a happiness with the draw. I'm content with the draw, but I'm not happy with it. He's happy with the draw, as we've seen against the top six. You know what I'm saying? It's just like for like, and this is not just against the top six. This is against other teams too. There's no intent to go and win it. Just hella like for like changes. Like, he didn't do this yesterday, but like changing a left back for a left back and things of that nature. It's like, come on, man. Like, try and affect the game in an offensive way. Show the players out there, all right, we're going for this now. You know what I'm saying? Take off a holding midfielder and put on an attacking one. Take off a holding midfielder and put on a striker. So I think we're all just tired, innit? So it is as United fans.
You lot, it wasn't that there wasn't any plan. It was just, I think all you really tried to do was capitalize on us. Like, if we overcommitted too many bodies in a situation, maybe you try and capitalize on a quick counter attack. But for the most part, we played a lot more defensive minded ourselves. Like the Kante Kovacic pivot, which was excellent defensively, even if it meant that progressively we weren't really as good as we would have been with a Jorginho. Defensively, we did our job excellently. We kept Bruno Fernandes and Rashford quiet for most of the game. But it was just maybe in periods of the second half where we were trying to push forward a little bit more after we brought on a Christian Pulisic and we were trying to chase the game a little bit more. Then there was more pockets of space for you guys to expose. And then it was like you were trying to capitalize a little bit more.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But then, like you just said it there, you had Kante and Kovacic and you had a back three. So you're playing 3 centre-backs and then 2 sitters, depending on how you look at Kovacic. If that's not intent to go for it, go for it. You know what I'm saying? And even if you nick a goal early, like Loz touched on there, you've got Ziyech and Giroud up top. So we've pushed high, but it's just bad, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? It's just not good enough, innit? Like,
and I think what Flawless means as well is it's not just the game against Chelsea yesterday. It's just been our record overall against the big teams. Before Lars came on, and we just said it, we scored 1 goal against all the top 6 teams this season. 1 goal, and that goal was a penalty in our 6-1 thrashing against Tottenham.
And here's the thing as well, adding on top of that is more than just everyone's looking at this top 6 record. It's more than that. It's against everybody else as well. Like, this is not just a top 6 thing. If this was just a top 6 thing and we went out and tried to beat up everybody else, I'd be like, all right, cool. But just a lack of intent to win games overall. I'm saying it's literally we are individual brilliance FC. The Ollie interview came out. I don't know where it's from, and someone sent me. And he said to him, what's your plan? And he said, he sounded like us. He said, counter-attacking and individual brilliance. Yeah. Literally. But when me or Aaron say that, we're the negative ones and we don't back the manager. But when the manager says that's the plan, that tells you all you need to know. Yeah, I mean, we just rely on individuals. And when that individual brilliance doesn't come, you see what happens. Like I said, we played you lot for 90 minutes. Never at one point during that game did I think we were going to score. It never looked like we was going to score.
for me, it's always a bad note as well. And I've only been able to highlight it a lot more when Tuchel's joined. And it's that if the fans can figure out everything that you're doing, figure out what you're doing wrong, and they're all in universal agreement of what you're doing wrong, there's a huge problem in that. Like with Tuchel, he'll throw these lineups out of nowhere. I'll be like, well, why you benched him for? Or why you dropped him? And why are we playing this formation? But then we play it, or he explains it. I'm like, fair play, cool. And I feel like a fan again. That's the way it always feels like more when it's Tuchel. Under Sarri, I know exactly what he's going to do for the most part. Conte, I know exactly what he's going to do for the most part. Lampard's second season, I know more what he's going to do for the most part. But even then, we could also see what was going wrong with him as well. With you guys, the same situation where you know what to expect with Ollie. You know what he's going to do. And to an extent, he also knows as well, which is also the problem. He should be making you guys question what's going to happen. He should be making other managers question what's going to happen. But it's just predictable.
Yeah, it's very predictable. That's why I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? And I could literally, on these match reactions, I say this all the time. Aaron knows this when we do videos. It's sending my video to you. I don't even have to be here. And you can just click play and pause, because I know it's big up Ryan as well. I know exactly what's going to happen. I know exactly what is going to happen. My match reactions, I say the same thing. Literally, I say the same thing in every match reaction. Bear in mind, we might create a chance or two, or if someone scores a screamer. That is literally it. Look at this guy's Avi. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
Camera actually disconnected as well. That wasn't even on purpose.
Look at this guy's Avi.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it is. It's literally, we say the same. I feel like me and Aaron have the same conversation week in week. United play twice a week, and we have the same conversation about them twice a week on everything. Yeah. Get me? Literally just relying on it. If that, you know what it is? The only difference is Fred didn't score that screamer. If Fred scores that banger, we're talking about, we won, but we didn't create anything, and it was individual brilliance from someone we don't normally associate it with in an attacking sense. That's literally it.
That's exactly what we did against Atletico Madrid, really. We didn't really create any proper chances other than Giroud out of nowhere pulling off an overhead kick. And essentially, because Lewis said this earlier, and I don't disagree, but I think we're kind of, and I firmly believe that Tuchel will change it up. It's just a case of he needs to get results because he's got this job and he needs to get top 4 to get the contract extension, and it's fine. But I do also see that we're kind of falling into the same situation slightly as you guys are, in terms of we do the same thing in the terms of the front three every time as well. The only change we really have is it Reece James or Hudson-Odoi right wing back, because that's the only change we have. I know we played Ziyech yesterday, fine, right? But in general, the front three is still always the same. It's either Giroud or Tammy. It's Werner. Okay, yesterday it was Ziyech instead of Werner. And it's Mount. We know that's going to happen. We have had issues in the final third in all 8 games that Tuchel was here, maybe bar the first half against Newcastle. We were quite good in that, created a few and even scored 2. But other than that, we had the final third issues in every game. But he's not changing it to fix it. Obviously, we don't know Obviously, he might have different ideas of how to fix it, and that's fair enough. I can only look at it as a fan, and I can only look at the information he gives us. He's asked, do we have injury problems? He says no. So I can only presume that Kai Havertz is fit to start games. Yeah. Why is he not starting games if we don't score? If you play him for 2 games and we don't score anymore either, fair enough. Then you tried it at least. But I don't understand
on the bench yesterday?
Sorry? Yeah, he was.
On the bench Oh, because I didn't even...
He didn't even come on. There you go. And I'm like, if we have the same issue of not scoring, surely put some other players on. I know he somewhat did it with Ziyech, but Ziyech had more games under him than Havertz. And when he played, he was worse than Havertz. So I don't really understand the logic completely with that. And the whole, he left Werner out yesterday, like I touched on it earlier already, with how you ended up playing in the first half. We would have been better with Werner, but had Werner played, you probably would have set deeper from the get-go. Would that have opened more chances up for us? I don't know. That's speculation. But I still think he needs to do a few more things as well. And obviously there was a lot of hype going around, and I'm not saying criticizing, Tuchel needs to do this, and otherwise I'm going to get mad and say Tuchel. Not at all. I'm just saying, especially, and that is a similar situation of why I'm so critical of Werner at times, is because when I expect a lot from someone, then I'm quicker to criticize. Yeah. And I expect a lot from Tuchel because I know how good he is and how good he can be.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, okay, we've played 8 games now. We've had roughly the same issues in all 8 of them. Why are we not trying something different then?
And I get your point with that. But the thing is, he's coming. I have to think he's undefeated. I think, what is it? Is that your 3rd draw now?
Yeah.
Third draw and the rest of the
Third
wins.
draw on the Tuchel, yeah.
Yeah, so it's your third draw. You got a great win away at Atletico. I can see with doing the watch-alongs with Lewis, I can see the difference even as a United fan with if you look under Tuchel than under Lampard. I can see there's a clear game plan. You look better going forward type of thing. And another thing is, and a couple other things with him as well, he's new. And also so I'd give him time. And also none of these players are his bias. So that's how I'm looking at it too. None of these players are, so you might, out of the whole squad, might not like any of these, but you are working with what you've got. The thing is with Ollie and why I'm so critical is because a lot of these players are your players. You spent a lot. Like people talk about our defense all the time. Our defense ain't good enough. Our defense is this. Our defense is that. This is why he plays 2 6s. Yo, you signed 3 out of a back 4. You've spent the most money on our defense, and it's the worst part of our team. But nobody wants to have that conversation. Every time I bring that up, someone says, "Well, you need a 4th." He spent the most money on our defense. You've signed a left back, a right back, and a centre back. So surely the defense shouldn't be the weakest part of our team. And then you're playing Fred and McTominay as 6s, and neither of them are 6s. So you're already unbalancing everything. They're both number 8s. But again, people are like, oh, you need to play a 6. No, you don't necessarily need to play a 6. Like Tuchel's doing now, I don't think he might not play with a back 3 at the start of next season once he gets his own players in. But he's come in, he's assessed it, and been like, all right, I might not have 2 centre backs I like for a back 4, so let me play a back 3. And I think it works for you lot as well, Ali, if you look at, for example, the Atletico Madrid game. So that's how I'm looking at it. Tuchel's new, whereas Lampard's been here. Solskjaer's been here for 2 and a bit years now. It's going into his 2nd season and more, and I have no belief, I'm saying, that he's going to turn this around. There's no belief from me that we're going to win a major trophy. Not a chance with this guy.
Yeah, and I think one of the other reasons, and Lars mentioned it, one of the other reasons why I think a lot of us don't have faith in Ollie is because I think he knows he's got the time that he needs, and I feel like there's some sort of laid back vibe that he's been having lately. Like it's almost like he knows he's going to stay here for longer than he has to, because his contract runs out at the end of next season. But it's almost like he knows he's going to have a contract extension or something like that, which I hope's not going to happen. You can see with Tuchel, for example, Tuchel knows he's there for 18 months, so he has to deliver. So that's why you probably see him trying out different things and chopping and changing here and there sometimes and making like changes. He knows he's got a limited time, so I need to get the job done. I need to get trophies. I need to do this, X, Y, Z. I think Ollie knows for some reason that he's going to stay here for long. And that's why he's just doing whatever he can. If it works out, cool. If it doesn't, cool, try again kind of thing. I think he's got that laid back mentality, and I think it's wrong. Maybe he does need to be under pressure, because we've seen in recent times, and Flawless will know this, whenever things go bad and then he's under pressure, all of a sudden we get results. Whenever he's on the verge of being sacked, or reports come out that he's on the verge of being sacked, we get results. So maybe
the team turns into prime Barcelona in that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe he does need to be under pressure, because somehow, whenever he is, we perform. And he doesn't get the sack. And he's been in so many positions. I think it's happened 4 or 5 times already. So I don't know, man. Maybe he needs to be under pressure. But then again, players don't perform under pressure, because we've seen it. 4 semi-finals, 4 losses. Whenever it's important, whenever we need to win games, we bottle it. So, yeah, it's a mix of both.
Yeah, I hear that. And big up Craigo for the comment as well, saying yesterday just a perfect snapshot of the way football currently is. Sad to see, honestly, from both a Chelsea and a United view, I feel. I think that also segues perfectly into the next topic, and that's probably the big controversial point from the game, the penalty call. And I'm not asking specifically whether you lot think it's a penalty or not, but I want to know you guys' thoughts on the surrounding instance with it as well, like Luke Shaw's comments, Ole's comments as well after the game, saying that the referees are potentially looking like they don't want to make big decisions because they don't want their name up in lights for controversial actions as well. Because like we say the refereeing in the Premier League is awful, and year in and year out it gets worse. But even with VAR, it continues to get worse and worse, and there continues to be even more wrong decisions, even more question marks, even more time to make these decisions, and even more time the decisions aren't right. From a United point of view, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on it. Like, I don't even care too much if it's a penalty or not. Low-key, even if it is a penalty, I don't care, because the last game as well, the Maguire and Azpilicueta incident, I see it as karma. But in general, anyway, what are you guys' thoughts?
This guy. I don't think it was a penalty. I don't think it was a penalty. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it was a penalty. I've seen it and I'm like,
Really?
yeah, I don't think it was. I don't think it was a
you
penalty.
guys were going to call it as one. I can't lie.
Nah, man.
Yeah, weird,
fam.
I thought it was.
Yeah,
I was like, we're going to get forgiven.
The way I've seen it, it came off Greenwood's arm, then went on Hudson-Odoi's hand, and then kind of bounced off Greenwood's arm again. Like, I don't know. It was a weird situation, but it was, to me, you go to VAR from what they are saying according to the rules. If it's clear and obvious, to me that wasn't clear and obvious because it bounced off Greenwood's arm, then Hudson-Odoi's arm, and then discussing, it went like this and like this and like that. So to me, it wasn't clear and obvious. What I'm saying surrounding the comments and stuff, starting with Luke Shaw, I don't know if you've seen stuff going around on Twitter yesterday, but as soon as that comment was made. And Manchester United, they briefed their stuff through Manchester Evening News. As soon as that comment was made, MEN came out with a statement saying the club insists that Luke Shaw's comments were wrong and that the club insists that Luke Shaw did not overhear what the ref said to Harry Maguire. So basically saying they're trying to protect him and they're also giving him a warning saying, don't come out and say this because we've seen it before where players come out and tell the truth to the press and they get fined. It happened with De Gea, I think last season. We lost to Newcastle away. He came out and said, this is the worst I've seen us. Surprise, surprise. The week after, he gets stripped of the captaincy. So there's clearly a thing within the club where players cannot come out and express how they really feel. So they just have to come out and say whatever the club's saying. That's why you see a lot of these players just come up with these basic generic answers during press conferences and stuff. But then on Ollie's comments, I've got no problem. I've got no problem with managers coming out and saying it should have been a pen, it shouldn't have been a pen, whatever. Cool. But to make it out as if that was the only reason why we didn't win is a bit embarrassing to me because, and then he came out with the whole story of on certain websites, things are being said about Maguire.
Doing on the Chelsea website? That was the biggest thing for me. I don't even go on it and I'm a Chelsea fan.
And shout out to your admin. He needs a raise, by the way. They troll us.
Man got the biggest shout out he got asked for.
Exactly.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Trolled us straight after the game.
But Aaron, people will tell you that we're the problem, but our manager's on the Chelsea website. You know what I'm saying? What are you doing?
I've got no problem.
But Chelsea fans ain't even on the website like that. I can't lie.
There's more Chelsea fans here. You know what I'm saying? More Chelsea fans on Lewis's channel than on the website. What are you doing on the website? And somebody said as well that, maybe you got told by someone, like his team. Why is your team on the Chelsea website? Surely you should be preparing us for the game. How about we do that, innit?
Yes.
Please prepare us for the game. Please prep us. You get what I'm saying in that. But like my bro Tox always says, man, United's training is just cardio and vibes. That's what we're on, innit? Just cardio and vibes.
It literally feels like it.
Yeah, that's a great picture.
We're clutching. We're clutching at straws every single time we don't win a game or we draw a game, and we're trying to look for excuses and say, we should. If this wouldn't have happened, or if this would have happened, we would have won the game. And whereas we should sometimes just look at ourselves and go, maybe we weren't good enough today. Do you know what I mean? And fair enough, he came out and said that some of the play up front wasn't good enough, and he said we weren't clinical enough, but. Then he comes out and praises Dan James for his work rate and all these things. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. And I've been told a lot that I shouldn't take his press conferences at face value. But at the end of the day, this is a guy who represents our players because players can't always come out and do press conferences because they have to train. They've got other stuff to do. And it's not always the same players that are going to come out and give press conferences. But so because they can't do that, the manager is a representation of the players for me. So whatever the manager says for me represents what the players think normally. So if yesterday we drew the game, didn't really play fantastic football. If the manager comes out now and just talks about the penalty situation, the players know when they don't play well. They know it. Because they talk within them among themselves in the dressing room. Like today, I wasn't good enough.
When they're playing and things aren't going well for them, that isn't good.
Exactly, they have that feeling. Now the manager comes out and all he talks about is the penalty. The players are probably looking at each other like, "But we didn't play well today." Well, you know what? Next game we'll just do the same then, because we'll get protected and everything's just going to be swept under the carpet. Like I said, we're not going to look at our mistakes and we'll just hear the basic generic post-match interviews and then the basic generic social media posts, not what the fans wanted. We go again, and it's just all forgotten. And like I said, it's that vicious cycle that we're in right now because the mentality of the manager, the higher ups, and the players are all not the same or where it's supposed to be.
And this is exactly why when it comes to Ollie, I don't pay attention to his post-match. I don't pay any attention to anything he says. The only time I find out is when I'm on live streams and Aaron or somebody else or someone in the comments will bring up a quote he said because it just annoys me even more, and it just confirmed I want to be wrong about him so bad. But every time I hear him speak and he makes a statement, it just backs up everything I'm thinking of. We played that game, and I said this yesterday on the match reaction, and I was like, there's never any we need to improve. We need to do better. You know what I'm saying? There's always an excuse. It should have been a penalty. How about, I'm not saying butcher your plays in public. Never do that. You should never do that. But we need to improve going forward. We weren't good enough offensively today. There's never any accountability. Protect your players, cool. But
you know what example I think of when you say that?
Yeah, go on.
Remember the Chelsea game where Hudson-Odoi got taken off after like 20 minutes? Was it Southampton?
Yeah.
Could you see Ollie do something like this? I could never see him do that.
Never in a million years. This is what I'm saying. And he's made the statement. And then the thing is, whether it's true or not, because I ain't gonna lie, I'm not knowledgeable enough to understand what a counter press is. You lot be talking football language that I have no idea. I heard someone talk about 2.3 XG. I'm like, how do you get 0.38 of a goal? That's over my head. So when I heard Tuchel talking about counter pressing, I'm like, I can't watch that and be like, all right, Hudson-Odoi is not counter-pressing and he's talking about his attitude. That's on the manager. But at the end of the day, you live and die by your decisions as the manager. So he's took him off because Hudson-Odoi is not doing something that he wants him to do. But I didn't watch the Atletico Madrid game, but Lewis said Hudson-Odoi played very well in that. So clearly it worked.
This is what I'm saying. It's the way Tuchel dealt with it that I 100% agreed with. Came out in the press conference and said it how it was. I asked him to do something. He didn't do it and I took him off. Simple. Yeah, but there's no bad blood. He has to learn. He has to learn from it, and he'll get better. What did he do? Started up against Atletico, and he had a good game. Yeah, and that's how you deal with it.
Yeah, and that adds into Tuchel as well. Is that when they asked him about it, he didn't butcher him. You know what I'm saying? He just answered the question, and I'm with that. I'm like, he answered the question. He probably butchered him in the changing rooms, but that's what you're supposed to do. That anything can be dealt with in house. I say that all the time, but already you can see Tuchel making a difference, but you can never see Ollie doing something. There's never any accountability at our club. Players make mistakes. Nobody's dropped. People talk about Martial all the time. I've said this and I'm a fan. He needs to be dropped. And when I say dropped properly, not dropped and then you get 20 minutes or 10 minutes the next game on the bench or not in the squad for 2 games straight. But we've seen De Gea, we've seen Maguire, we've seen Lindelof, we've seen Shaw at times, Wan-Bissaka, everybody, you get me, even Bruno, Pogba, poor form, and these men are still playing and still playing and still. So they're going to be comfortable, and that's in any job. If you get comfortable in any job and there's no accountability, there's no repercussions for your mistakes, you're going to continue to mess about. I've done it at jobs. I'm gonna push it to the limit and see what I can get away with in that until they're like, right, you need to chill in that. If you can get away with bad shit, you're gonna keep doing it.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
And that's what we are. We're in the squad. Yeah, go on.
There's been instances in the squad. I remember that period where De Gea he was just terrible. Nightmare, absolute nightmare. His head wasn't in the game. No. I think even years ago, before he signed his contract extension, his head just was not in the game. Then he signed that contract and we were like, all right, cool. You signed a new contract. Focus on Manchester United. Focus on the team. Focus on what you have to... Bro, the form just went even worse after that.
And if you remember correctly, when Van Gaal was here and De Gea was going through the whole contract issues, he dropped him. You know what I'm saying? Yes. I've seen all managers drop players. I'm sure Tuchel, I'm sure you two will know. Someone like we're talking about Callum Hudson-Odoi not doing anything. Didn't even wait till the next game to drop him. Man took him off there and then. You know what I'm saying?
No,
so it's like, right, you can't...
brought him on, didn't do what he had to do, and he got took him off. I was like, wow.
I'm saying, like, nah, you can't mess about here, because at the end of the day, if you play and perform poorly, it lands on me. You know what I'm saying? And it lands on me. Big up Babs. Big up Babs. He's got a point still in it. You know what I'm saying? He's got a point in it.
I'll send you the link. You can ask me the thoughts on Ziyech having more goals than Willian as well, my guy. But big up yourself. Thanks for being locked in. And same way to everyone else who's locked in.
Big up Aaron for this
and also same for the super chat as well, saying big up Aaron and Mr. Take Note. Guys, subscribe to Mr. Aaron United. Subscribe to Sarcasm CTV. Subscribe to Lawrence Vescali as well while we're out. We're talking about 3 guys who really need way more subs than they have right now. You're looking at Raya. So smash the like and subscribe button.
Thank you.
And I do want to also chat about your what was it? Ole's comments on Frank Lampard, because he was saying, and it's not just Frank Lampard specifically, but he's saying managers putting an idea in referees' heads that Manchester United continuously get too many penalties. And I think this was started from Jurgen Klopp in the build-up to the Liverpool United match, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And he said, what was it? United have won more penalties in 2 years than Liverpool have in 5.5 at Anfield. However, they've received 42 in all competitions since Solskjaer took over in December 2018, which compares to Liverpool's 19. And do you think that's had an impact on referees' decisions in things like this? Because we can decide whether or not it was a penalty or not. But in the situation, in the moment, I was sitting there and I was like, these fuckers are going to give it to United anyway, whether it's a fucking penalty or not. They're going to give it or not.
Yeah,
and do you think that that's had some sort of impact on the VAR calls you guys have been getting recently, or do you still think it's an issue where some fans are looking for other excuses instead of looking at the main problem?
Me personally, I don't think it is with us with the penalties we was getting, and this is not my United bias. The majority of them, I genuinely thought are penalties. I'm honest. If Manchester United get a penalty and I don't think it's a penalty and we score from it, obviously I'm gonna celebrate, but I'm gonna come on this platform and every other platform and go, nah, I don't really think it was a penalty. Well, I'll take it. Yeah, especially if we get a win. So the majority of the penalties we were getting were penalties. So I don't think it's anything to do with that. And it's just so coincided with Klopp saying that there isn't a penalty unless Aaron can remember where we should have got one and we didn't. That I can remember personally.
I think this season, off the top of my head right now,
there's nothing that I can think of where I'm like, that's a stonewall penalty and we didn't get it.
Yeah,
I think this season, I think the penalties you have got were mostly fair enough. There was a fair few late, like towards the end of last season, where I can always think of one where Fernandes steps on the guy's leg, falls over.
Bruno against Villa.
Ridiculous thing. But I think. Oh, and obviously Klopp said exactly like you did. I think what's frustrating for at least me as an opposition fan for United is that the penalties that they don't get given against them constantly. Like the Maguire one against Newcastle. How's that happened then? Like, how can you not look at that? Obviously, yes, yesterday, whether you see it as a pen or not, you could argue it came, it swings and roundabouts. The one time we didn't get it, now you didn't get it. But still, there has to be one where there was Maguire not getting sent off in that League Cup game when he obviously kicked Batshuayi right in the nutsack.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Those are things where I'm like, the penalties very often and Rashford touched on this, I think, this season, that Mourinho kind of taught them to make sure you get those pens. I think a lot of them are fair enough. You make the most out of it, but Manchester United are not the only ones to blame for it. But I just think on the other end, United get really lucky. That's just what it feels like. And obviously, I don't watch every single game. And then only the big moments come up on Twitter. And obviously, they come up by opposition fans. So it's somewhat a skewed picture. But it's just... I think the whole referee thing, probably the comments by Klopp and Lampard put some sort of pressure on the refs, but then Solskjaer put pressure on the refs in the first place for Klopp to respond that way. And to when he responded to Klopp, and with what Solskjaer said yesterday, that will now put pressure on the referees in the other way. It's part of the game. Like, people need to accept it's part of the game. If you interview managers and players week in, week out, after every game, before every game, they're going to try to help their team in every way they can. And if you say something and that happens to influence a referee, I don't necessarily see that as the worst thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's part of the game. It's mind games. There is press conference before boxing or UFC fights. The point is to play mind games to your opponent. Okay, there you would strongly hope it's not to do with the ref. But hey, if it affects the ref and you get an advantage from just saying things that aren't like insulting or anything, hey, why wouldn't you do that? And then it's part of playing the game. And I think the much bigger issue in football, rather than the referees taking this decision and the refs, okay, sometimes they get it very wrong. But the amount of times the handball rule has changed over the last 18 months, that's why none of us can really say, was yesterday a penalty? Because none of us actually know the rules.
I was going to say that.
None of us know.
Touch on that. I don't know what handball is or isn't anymore. I thought I knew
his hand was near enough to the ball, innit? And it might be
I thought I knew what offside was before, but now I see people's goals getting chalked out because a man's kneecap's offside. I don't know what it is anymore. Really. You know what I'm saying? You lot are confusing the simple game for me, innit? I've said this. You know what I'm saying? Offsides, handballs, lines that are even straight. You know what I'm saying? How you big old Sky or BBC are even get straight lines?
And shit. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Like when they did a light blue and dark blue line on bro. Have you not had red in your whole color thingy? Did it just get deleted?
You're literally showing me two different lines. Which one's the onside line?
And do you remember? Do you remember also? I know this is not Premier League, but La Liga. I think it was last season. Yeah, I think it was last season. And he cut to the VAR room and nobody was in there. I swear down in a live game, yo, fam. They cut to a live footage. Nobody was in the room, fam. I swear to God. I'm gonna try and find it. JV showed it. We spoke on it, fam. Yo, I swear down, yo, they cut to it and nobody was in there. It's like, what is going on?
With VAR now, yeah, and I'm not saying, obviously, some people might say it helps the game, and it does help the game sometimes when it's a clear and obvious error, and then somebody didn't see it or the ref didn't see it, and then they watch it back, and then obviously you give the red card when needed, or you say it's offside when needed, or a penalty, whatever it is. There's a certain beauty about, a certain goal still being a topic of discussion till this day. Do you see what I mean? For example, like it's ironic that it's a coincidence that with Chelsea fans today, but remember your game against Liverpool in the Champions League? Till this day, man don't know if that Luis Garcia was a goal or not. If that shot went over the line, we still don't know. But that's the beauty of it. We still talk about it till this day. And I know you guys are.
Beauty is one word to describe it, but continue.
Yeah, no, but you get what I mean, innit? Like, we still talk about it today. Liverpool fans will still say, yeah, Luis Garcia scored, but then you guys will say that's never over the line. Like, you can still have a discussion. I think VAR is ruining this, man. It's completely ruined the game, and you can't even celebrate properly, man. That Giroud goal.
It's a 22 though, because isn't it literally all that we asked for years when we had this controversy where we couldn't really tell or we couldn't go back? Like, there were games between us where I was sitting there like, we've been fucked over by the ref. Do you remember that game in 12-13? Fucking Hernandez was so offside, he was in the goal net when the ball was played.
Remember that? Yeah. Was it the goal where he was in 12, the goal, 13. Came out, and then...
Yeah.
Was it at the bridge or Old Trafford? I can't remember.
At the bridge. We were down to 9 men by that point. Like, Torres also got sent off for being tackled.
I don't remember this.
Chelsea.
But you don't even have to go that far back. We literally played Barnsley like 3 weeks ago. There was no VAR, obviously, in the FA Cup in the lower league opposition in a lower league stadium, which still makes no sense. How is legally? How can a competition even go ahead if something like VAR exists in some games but not in others? Like, that's mind-boggling.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Also, I mean, the goal line technology, fair enough. You don't have enough cameras in the lower league grounds, but VAR just means looking at the TV screen. Like, why can you not have that in the lower league stadium? I don't get it. But anyways, we had a clear pen not given, and you could argue we had another pen not given. At least one of them was straight up. And I know we won it in the end, but hey, if that goes to extra time and we lose on penalties, we're fuming that there's no VAR. And swings and roundabouts, when you don't get it in your favor, and VAR isn't there, you're annoyed. And as much as Aaron obviously rightly so said, it is the fun of it to talk about it, but not if you're the fan and get triggered by it. Then you don't enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with that.
And that's the whole thing with VAR. All it's done is highlight how bad these officials are. You have all the tools to make the right decisions. You can watch it in slow-mo, 5, 6, 7K view. You know what I'm saying? And you might are still getting this wrong. And it's like, how can I be at home or even on a watch along talking to 4 or 5 other people, see a challenge one time and go, that's not a penalty, or that is a penalty, and they go over to the screen, they're watching it, people are in it, it was a penalty, and then they get the decision wrong, or they might even get it right. It's like, what took you so long? Because I actually like VAR. I just think the execution of it is terrible. It's in the wrong hands. You know what I'm saying? You can give someone
in England, and I feel like it's only in England, because in other countries it works perfectly.
It's in the wrong hands.
Really
Europe, they do it excellently. Like, I remember last season, I gave up on. I was finished with VAR after the Spurs game, because I don't know if you remember the Lo Celso tackle on Azpilicueta in that game. I caught it initially and came back 20 minutes while the game was still going in, saying, "Yeah, sorry guys, we got it wrong." I was like, how the fuck do you not get it wrong when you got like 6 massive screens in front of you, and it took 25 minutes to teach that you guys got it wrong as well. Meanwhile, in Europe, Champions League, we're 3-0 down to Bayern Munich. Marcos Alonso throws an elbow at Lewandowski. Only need 1 replay, and they're like, "Yeah, it's a red card. Send them off." That was done in a minute.
Yeah, but you say that it took them 2 minutes and 50 seconds to decide whether Giroud was offside against Atletico. 2 minutes and 50 seconds to see if Hermoso or Mount touched the ball. It wasn't that difficult to see.
But again, that ties into what I said in terms of VAR is fine, because we're now seeing the deficiency in the referees and the officiators, and the rules and the words, and it's like you lot really didn't know what you're doing, and we've give you the help we wanted because I was for VAR, and the thing is when goals get scored, I still celebrate. I worry about the afters, innit? If it's off, I'm gonna celebrate. You know what I'm saying? I don't worry about the afters.
Could you imagine VAR being introduced back in 2012 when Aguero scores that goal against QPR?
Hey, stop,
oh
fam.
my lord!
Yo, fam, I was in the Asda across the road.
my
Stop,
God.
stop, man. I was right by the ground at that point, innit? Like, don't
You just see VAR pop up on the screen. I'll be like, right.
To be fair, it happened at City, ironically, when they played Tottenham in the Champions
League. Oh, it was
League.
great. Yeah. It was
that
fantastic.
Was just and the goal got ruled off for, was it offside or handball or something? That was
fantastic.
That would be such a mood killer, you know. That takes me back to last season as well. We faced Spurs straight after the 2-0 loss to you guys. You know how much VAR came into effect and cost us that match too. Giroud scores the first goal 11 minutes in. Everyone's going fucking crazy and everything. It's like 2 minutes of fucking limbs, and then all I see VAR pop up on the screen. I have never heard a groan like that in my life from all four corners of the ground. It was like, oh, fuck off, we're going to get another goal this loud. This is another thing with the game as well. You can't really enjoy these moments like that because you're celebrating. It's like, wait, was there a chance he was offside? Was there a little...
Wait, did you just talk about Ajax?
No. We're talking about Tottenham game.
Yeah, but there you go. Even think about Ajax last season. Obviously, we came back to 4-4, and then we actually scored a 5-4. Everyone went nuts.
Yeah.
He was already going crazy. And then a minute later, 2 minutes later, they were like, yeah, it hit the hand of a player in the build-up, and that's why the goal don't stand. I mean, to be like, by the rules, it was a correct decision, so you can't like sit here and cry about it. But it's still like, imagine getting a 5-4 taken away from you. Like, that's so hard. Not that it made a difference we went through, but still.
At Stamford Bridge and all the other stadiums, you guys are lucky because you actually get to see that on the screen. Imagine being at Old Trafford, you're scoring a goal, and all you hear is VAR decision. Oh my God, that is
you lot ain't even got a screen, do you?
Yeah, we don't have a screen, and so that's even worse because you just hear a voice in VAR and you just go, oh, Lord.
Nah, the reason why we don't have a screen, man, we keeping the voiceover lady in a job. That's why, innit? Wow, that's why it is, innit? You get me? You lot are hella disrespectful, and we out here keeping people in work, innit? That's why we ain't got a screen and that. You know what I'm saying? Trying to cost people work.
At least we're not like Arsenal liquidating, man. You know what I mean? Getting rid of people.
Yeah, man. Getting rid of. We could be out here getting rid of. You get me? Fred the Red and that. You know what I'm saying?
We're not getting rid of our mascot. You know what I mean?
No. We ain't doing them things.
We're adding mascots here still.
Hey, Werner's not that bad, fam. Come on, we'll go on.
Come on. We talk about your number 9s as well. In fact, let's also talk about the Chelsea-Man United game in general, because we could talk about both our attacks, like literally toothless FC between the pair of us. I'm not even going to mug your attack off because our attack didn't do much either. But talk to me about the midfield and the defense, because the Kante Kovacic pivot, and Aaron, I want to come to you as well, because you watch a lot more European football than I do, and this will come very handy for the Atletico Chelsea game as well. What were your thoughts on the Kante Kovacic pivot and the way they worked out both defensively and offensively? Because it was two different tales for them, in my opinion. Defensively, rock solid. Like, it was really hard for Manchester United to find ways through. We kept Rashford quiet. We kept Bruno quiet. We did an excellent job. Going forward, still thought we struggled with the possession game, trying to find passes forward, trying to be more progressive with our play. What were your thoughts on how do you think that would fare up against Atletico Madrid as well?
I feel like the Kovacic and Kante pivot it's a good pivot in my opinion, because you got a bit of both. You've got Kante, who's the more aggressive one, who's gonna get the ball back aggressively and then progress it to someone else. But then you've got Kovacic, who's a bit more. Well, I don't watch a lot of Chelsea, so I might say something wrong here, but correct me if I'm wrong. But Kovacic is the more elegant one, let's say, who's gonna look after his pass, make sure his pass is tidy, them kind of things. And that's what I like about that pivot, because you've got a bit of both. And I think in any partnership around on the pitch, whether it's a centre-back partnership or the pivot partnership, you have to make sure that you've got one of both. You can't put two of the same mold next to each other, because if they're doing the same thing, you might as well leave one of them there. Do you see what I mean? You don't need two people to do the same job. You always have to have one of the other. And I think this is it could be a very good pivot against Atletico Madrid as well. And yeah, it could be a very good pivot against Atletico Madrid, because now with you scoring against them away, they're going to have to come out. There's no way these guys are going to sit back with six in defense like they did in the first leg. No way. Because if they do that, they might as well not turn up and not play, because they have to come out and somehow score. And because they're so defensive minded, the only way I can see them score, well, to be fair, they might go all out, but then that's an invitation for you guys to use your quality, your pacing behind and all these things, to go and hit them on the break and create something and score and hurt them. But the only way I can see them score is probably set pieces, so free kicks, corners into the box, because they got quite physical tall players as well that can head the ball and score. But yeah, the pivot for me of Kovacic and Kante is a very good one, man. However, if you want to play, I feel like if you want to play one DM by himself, it has to be Jorginho, because I feel like he's very good at it when it's just him. I feel like with someone else, he doesnn't look as good as when he's by himself. I feel like when he's by himself, he controls the game a bit more, because he can literally dictate where the ball goes, because he loves to play them. When he was playing by himself, he loved to play them long balls, and then someone would in behind and someone would go and score or have an opportunity to score. So if you ask me, I'd rather go for the double pivot of Kovacic and Kante, because I feel like they complement each other, and I really like that.
It's a weird one, and I actually wanted to ask two United fans about this, because I thought, particularly in the first half, in your press, you targeted Kante, and that's why he, in my opinion, on the ball was really poor in the first half. Defensively, masterclass, right? Totally. But on the ball, I think United and Solskjaer particularly tried to target him. They knew 9 times out of 10 we're not going to get the ball off Kovacic anyway. Even if we press him with 2 or 3, it's not going to happen. That's what he's really good at. But with Kante, he might win the ball off us, but when we get on him, that's where we're most likely to steal the ball off Chelsea in a good position. Yeah. And that's where I think the issue with Kante comes from. And that's where Lewis and myself have debated this many times, and with other Chelsea fans as well. We don't know what our best pivot is, because, you know, with Jorginho and Kovacic together, you're basically completely press resistant. We'll find a way to pass our way out pretty much any situation you can put us in. But we're not as good defensively as we are when we have Kante. Then when you have Kante and Kovacic in there, and not at least one of them is super disciplined. They were yesterday, but that's because it was a big game. If we did this in the average game, both of them like to roam and like to push, and then we leave huge gaps. And then if you play Kante and Jorginho, none of them really push, helps us drag and play the ball up the pitch on a consistent basis. So that's why we struggle with that. My opinion is, if we play a back 3, there's no need to play Kante. There is the off game where that doesn't apply. But I think on average, if we play a back 3, don't play Kante, because we already have the defensive protection. And then just make sure we have better passing opportunities, because I think part of the reason why we struggle in the final third is because we have one more defender rather than one more midfielder. And that's why I think we don't always we're just shy by that one man sometimes in the final third. Yes, Tuchel keeps talking about precision, and that's true. But precision doesn't need to be as high if you have an extra guy there that can, get on the ball if the cross isn't perfectly accurate, because there's just another guy could fall to. And, I was honestly surprised, and I going to make this a fairly big topic on my stream in a minute. Was Kante really the man of the match? Because I was baffled by that. Chelsea fans voted for this on the tweets. I'm like, really?
Kante won man of the match?
Yeah, Kante won man of the match. And I was like, really? How's that happen then? Yeah, no, exactly.
Danish Maldini.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
This
I actually can't be asked, bro.
idiot.
Yeah, that's exactly
idiot,
Yeah.
Yo, you know what? Whoever your media team is, I need on me. You know what I'm saying? And that Lewis's media team is A1 and that. You know what I'm saying?
I make all of these myself. If you need any editing, shout me. Shameless.
I'm gonna shout. You know what? As soon as I start some form of hive, I'm gonna start shouting you still. Oh yeah, Gabby, you gonna get it. All right, we gonna talk loose. You know what I'm saying? We gonna slaughter Gabby Jesus.
I got plenty of things.
Yo, Martial played 10 minutes. This guy. Man put Martial in there. I played 10 minutes.
I said if he steps on the pitch and does nothing, he's jumping it anyways. just for the slant.
It don't matter. You have to move. But boys, I need to head off. Really good to meet you both, Aaron and
No problem, man.
Flawless.
No problem.
Cheers, Lewis. Obviously, Lewis should jump on my channel. So if just follow him there. That'd be great. But thanks. I'll talk to you later, boys.
Thanks for hopping on,
man.
Bless, man.
Yeah, bro. Also taking a look at the super chat quickly from Jesters. Thanks for the donation. He says MLS has a better offsides review than Premier League. VAR is also really there because the gambling sites gotta have those bookies happy. You think I think it's a very, very controversial and, to be honest, a bit of a conspiracy theory to say, but you can't really say VAR is just there to give you more of an impact in deciding those decisions, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. Like VAR is just, again, we're seeing the incompetence and how bad the referees are, because VAR should make everything easier. You get to now look, because we've had sympathy with refs in the past where something happens quick. Was it a penalty or not? It can be tough to tell. Is it offside or not? But now you can go back and watch it, whether it's an offside or a foul. Is it a penalty? Is it offside? And they're still getting it wrong. Like I said, watching it 4 or 5 times, different angles, and sometimes in slow motion. How you still, clearly you're not good enough at your job. And someone needs to be held accountable for that. But it is what it is.
Yeah, for me as well. I don't know if you guys watch rugby. I don't watch rugby either.
No,
but I feel like the way they handle refereeing is excellent. Like, all I see from rugby, I'll be real, probably a few refereeing comps. But the way the system is there, like the authority that referees have, the respect that they command, also because they're also held accountable for their decisions. They have to relay their decisions on a mic to everybody. I think even in grounds, the whole stadium's hearing their decisions. They're seeing the decisions on camera as well. I don't know why. I kind of know why, but we're going to discuss it anyway. But I still don't know why. $1 billion sport, the most expensive sport in the game right now, we don't mic our... If anything, that would be content in itself. Imagine like Chelsea Spurs or United Liverpool. You get to see it from the referee's eyes. Like if they got a GoPro on their chests and everything. That would be amazing. And you see the respect that they command off the players as well. Half of it is because they can't chat shit to them because they know they're mic'd up and the whole world's going to be able to see and hear it as well. They can get called out in person too. But it's also a belief in the system. They know the system works. They know that they can trust the referee's decision for the most part. They know if the referee's wrong, he's probably going to get reprimanded for it. Why is it taking us so long to do that?
You know why? Because if we start micing up, 2 things. If we actually got refs to explain their decisions after matches, during the games, or both, which should happen, we'd probably have more sympathy, because then we're understanding refs are making decisions and everybody's like, why did you make that decision? And it's just a wall of silence. And it's like, that's what infuriates people even more. And then on top of that, if they are mic'd up and things of that nature in regards to us being able to hear it, it could expose refs even further, because you can hear Luke Shaw saying he overheard something. Say he was right and he legit overheard the ref say that. Say we had actual audio footage, audio of the referee saying that. That makes it even worse for the referees. We've seen what's happened. We've added technology to these referees to improve their decisions, and it's just exposing how bad they are. If we add even more technology to it, I think it could, because then a referee might say something and give a reason for not giving a foul or giving a foul or a penalty, and we're like, that's not even a ruling. I just think the referees are terrible. And until something's done about the referees, we'll always have these type of conversations and these type of issues.
Yeah, like that's the thing for me, because I was doing the research for this show as well, and I was taking a look at some of the refereeing decision and also some of the things with whether they get fines or anything based on their wrong decisions. Apparently, referees have yearly bonuses and they take a hit with every error that they make in the game for the remainder of the season.
These men should be broke then. Yeah, I mean, these men should have 0 on their paychecks if that's the case for every error they make.
But I don't know if it's the case if it's errors in general or if it's errors that they call out themselves, which might also impact with VAR decisions, because you could look at the decision, you could notice it's wrong and then just think, shit, my bonus, I'm going to drop another $5,000. Yeah, I didn't see that, man. Play on. And you see where the problems could be.
Now, I get what you're saying. Yeah. But again, it just comes down to the incompetence of the referees. They're just not good enough, and we're seeing that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. Like,
exactly.
That's what it is.
Like, we go around in circles with it all that we want, but all we know at the end of the day, it's more the referees. Like, we don't like VAR, but it's more the way VAR is handled. Like, I want VAR in the Premier League. I think it's a great thing to bring the sport forward. It's just, how do you fuck up VAR? Like, we go round and round in circles. I don't get how you fuck up 3, 4, 5, 6 HD screens in front of your face and you still can't get the right decision.
Because it comes back to these men just not being good enough at their job. Simple as that. And all the time we was like, yeah, give them the technology. They'll do better.
It's not good enough at the job. It's easy. Like, maybe I'm underestimating it, But if I have 6 different screens with 5 or 4 different angles on an incident, and I know the rules as a referee at the highest level of the game, who understands the rules, even the new rules of the game. Like, how is it not that easy?
Because we've seen these people. It was at Villa last season. Forget to turn on the goal line technology. The goalkeeper was chilling in the side netting with the ball, and the referee didn't give it. That tells you all you need to know. Nobody in VAR is like, yeah, that's a goal. Something as simple as that. I could see it on the TV. The goalkeeper, I can't remember what game it was for Villa, and the goalkeeper has caught the ball, and he's literally laid in the side netting with the football behind the goal line. And not the referee, nobody in the VAR room said, yeah, check that. That's a goal. Simply because the goal line technology went off and that. So yeah, I don't think it's a question of it being easy. These managers are not good enough at their job. I think that's what it is. Because it should have helped them. But I would say refereeing decisions have probably got worse since VAR.
Yeah, I'd say more exposed.
Yes, there you go. Then more. Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, more exposed.
And I feel like the way the decisions are communicated with the fans as well. Like you both mentioned, you either come out and give post-match interviews like the players, or I say you do it like the NFL, bro, in America, bro. They've got like, you know, the referees when when there's a decision to be made, obviously they look at the video stuff, and even NBA referees do it as well, if I'm not wrong, bro. They've got a mic on them, yeah. They press a button on their device, whatever it is, and the whole stadium can hear the decision that's been made. I feel like you do that so the fans are aware as well of what's happening, because sometimes, even though we see it on the screen or whatever, we don't know what's happening. Handball, but yeah, handball from where? From who? We don't know. Do you see what I mean? So, yeah, I feel like there needs to be more clarity, and the way they communicate with fans as well needs to be more clearer. And if a referee's made a mistake, he has to own up to it. I don't know how referees are not doing post-match interviews. I don't know. I really don't know. Like they're being, and I'm not saying we should attack them and stuff because that's wrong, but they have to be held accountable as well, because I feel like they're being overprotected.
Yeah, they are.
They're being overprotected, and now they're coming up with this rule of if a player assaults a referee started from next season, they can get a lifetime ban. I'm like, come on, man. Do you see what I mean? So now that literally tells me that from next season, that literally tells me, that from next season, because you know sometimes players can get heated and it's the heat of the moment. They'll be like, oh, ref. Like, it's the heat of the moment. So you're telling me that's going to be seen as an assault and then you get a lifetime ban? Come on, man. Do you know what I mean? We need to be holding the refs accountable as well. Just as much as you hold the players accountable by giving them cards, hold the referees accountable as well when they make mistakes. And don't come out with these stupid statements during the game, like the Chelsea-Tottenham game, talking about, oh, we made a mistake. It was a tackle on was it Jorginho? No, Aspilicueta. Do you see what I mean? Don't come out, don't take us for idiots, man.
Bro, imagine this also got a 95th minute equaliser or some fuckery after that.
Do you see what I mean?
Exactly. That's the thing that worries me the most about. But the thing that gets exposed, the more and more these incidents get exposed, is that the referees are protected, because all the actions I see made are to take the pressure away from the referee, to take all the spotlight away from the referee and try and focus it more on the player. Why has the player brought the game into disrepute? Apparently, it's not the players half the time; it's the referees, because the referees are meant to be the ones in control. But we could really go round in circles on it. Any final thoughts from the pair of you before we wrap this up?
Yeah. Oh, I got nothing, man. United have broken me in it, pretty much. So in it.
Same, bro.
United have broken me in it. Like
now, we're just taking it game by game. In it, we've got Palace next on Wednesday. Previewing that tomorrow. But yeah, I can't say. I don't want to say I want my team to lose, because that's the wrong mentality. But Palace on Wednesday will probably beat them. To be honest, if Zaha's not playing, probably beat them. But then we've got another big fish on Sunday, bro. Man City. And nobody seems to be able to stop these guys. So, boy, it's looking like a tough week. I can't lie.
I said, boy.
It's looking like a tough week.
It is, isn't it? Like, it is, isn't it? Yeah, see, I'd say it's spot on there, because we talk. She can see how like broken I am. Like, I'm a jovial guy in it. Like, man's even still, I'm still cracking joke at that, but like that's all I have left in it because my team give me nothing.
Genuinely,
you know
the only time where I don't see you hyped up is when Manchester United are playing. It's mad.
There we go in it. And then people say to me, yo, Flawless, why are you so negative? Blah, 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 regards to Ollie, because they give me nothing, negative results. All I want to see is just positive on the front foot, attacking football. Literally. And it looks like we have some form of plan. You know what it looks like? It looks like at times when we're playing, that we're just a bunch of brethren who've just turned up on the Sunday, innit? Against Bridge at the Bridge yesterday. These men just turned up and was like, you know what, you're playing, let's go in it. There was no training, there was nothing in it. There was a whole hour and a half of football and we didn't create one clear-cut chance. Whole hour and a half of football.
The only shot on target was the Rashford free kick, wasn't it?
No, and Rashford had one that he chipped into Mendy as well.
The McTominay chance.
Yeah, the McTominay one. See, look, we're here. You get me? Scratching our heads trying to think.
Remember them off the top of our heads.
I remember it because they're not clear cut. They're not clear. They're even half chances. Like if McTominay scores that, you're like, yeah, that's a great finish. If Fred scores his, great finish. The Rashford free kick is the same. But yeah, here we go back to the whole Martial thing. Yesterday he wasn't playing. How did Greenwood do as a 9? And Greenwood's quality? You know how many touches Greenwood had in Chelsea's box yesterday? 2. At number 9, you know. Yeah,
I'll mock it, but I don't want to talk too much about the attack because I've already said about what we're like in the box either. So it really is what it is. Trash v garbage in the final third. Aaron, any final thoughts?
Yeah, like I said, tough week ahead. Palace, City. We have to hope for 4 points out of 9. To be honest, 4 points out of 9, if we're lucky. And
who's your next two?
Palace on Wednesday and City on Sunday.
Manchester derby.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Manchester derby. That being said, I think we'll beat Palace.
I think we'll beat Palace as well.
I think we'll beat Palace, innit? Yeah. And you know what? Like you touched on it earlier on in the show about these players turning up. In the next month, we'll turn up in a game and then everyone will be gassed. Like, look, Ollie ball, blah, blah, blah. It happens all the time, innit? We're going to beat someone playing well. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who it is, but we're going to beat someone or get a very good result.
William moves where it's just like you cash in one of your 5-game season.
Yes. One of them tokens, fam. That's what it is. But yo, love for having me on as well, Lewis, man.
Thank you for having me on as well, man.
Hey, big up you guys for jumping on, man. It's been great to come and break down the United-Chelsea game. Everyone, like I already said, check out Sarcasm City TV. Check out Mr. Aaron United. Literally should be on way more subs, so smash the like and subscribe button. Check out Lawrence's channel as well in the description below. He is live right now, so everyone literally straight from here to Lawrence's channel. I'm going to be on there in a few minutes as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow for the start of the build-up to Liverpool versus Chelsea. Let's make this one win at least. Yeah, like trust me, one of the games is a fuckery until after the Atletico match. I'm just glad we ain't lost yet.
Well, see that's what I'm waiting for, innit? I'm waiting to be on a watch along with you lot and you lose. And it's not happened yet. It's like I'm a good luck charm for you lot.
Waiting, and you also got to know about certain good luck charms and the reason for our good form as well. Danish Maldini himself. As you think, I always say that. And Liverpool, there will be plenty of new inductees into the AC penitentiary as well. Don't you worry about that. There is plenty of space for Mane and his hairline too. Salah, Firmino, you already know there's plenty of space for everyone. Don't worry. But
just make sure you're giving them food as well, please, because we know about gels.
Yeah, hey, you know what?
Martial weren't fed the last day.
I'm gonna have to do on my Joseph Proctor from Power Lawyer thing and get Martial out because these are the false charge, man. That's a hell of false charge. Man wasn't even there. You get what I'm saying? And that
he wasn't just trying to nothing to do with it.
Some conspiracy theory chat. He was just in the trap playing PS4 and then you managed to arrest him when you ran in the trap.
By association.
You man just ran in the trap.
The crime happens. You're still getting put in pen for it.
Yeah, but then you should be released. You know what I'm saying? And
we'll just make sure we get some of that Woodward money to bail him out. Don't worry.
Yo, throw someone. I don't know. I like all our players still. I don't even know. Throw someone else in there in it. I'm saying we'll play someone.
Then people would have said that was a bit too much. But yes, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care. Check out Mr. Aaron United. Check out Sarcasm City TV. Big up everyone who's been locked in. I've really enjoyed the stream. Take care. Like and subscribe. And let's smash Liverpool on Thursday. Up the Chelsea.